Mike here. You're looking at another medical record dated November 24th, 2010. On that visit, during that appointment, I requested an aluminum test, blood test. Sometime before this appointment, maybe a year, I think maybe April of 2010, I did mention about geoengineering and my concerns about it, and that I noticed, it was happening in Connecticut. He thought I was a little nutty asking for the test, but he ordered it, and it came back positive, and they were like, we think it's a contaminated sample. Would you come back in, please? And I did a second, and it came back positive again. It's nothing huge, but the bottom line is typically, people that have positive for aluminum they're in dialysis, okay? So, it really shouldn't be there. We don't know where it came from. I mean, it doesn't mean that it came from the geoengineering in the skies or anything, but it certainly indicates that Mike wasn't nutty, was he? But yet, you look at Michael remains out of work but has been physically quite active. He continues to have somewhat paranoid ideation about various governmental activities and problems with atmospheric manipulation, including spraying of the atmosphere with various chemicals, including aluminum. In fact, he requested a serum aluminum level be drawn today. Now, did he indicate in this record, when he got the labs in, that there were 2 positive labs for aluminum? That I was positive? Nope. Did it show up in the phone? Nope. They pretty much just buried the record, the labs. They didn't mention it at all anywhere. So what's left here, obviously, is it appears that, according to this doc, Mike is being a little nutty. And you're going to notice, I'm going to show you where this shows up. The part on the activities of the government, paranoia about the activities of the government. You see it? It showed up on July 3rd, 2014, here in Missouri, okay, in a case management log. There it is. Now, also, it indicates client appears to experience delusions. Now, I had already discussed this in a few different videos. Okay, delusions regarding my health. In other words, I think I'm sick, but I'm not. I think there's something wrong with me, but there's not. And I had already indicated in a couple videos regarding 18 visits from October 2012 until October 2013 before I was actually given a lab. In other words, people were treating me without doing a lab. Or, they're giving you a prescription but not doing a lab to confirm their assessment. Nobody. And it was no accident, okay? It really wasn't. And what most people don't realize, and I didn't, in my case, is I had a comprehensive, intensive care team that, of course, included a coordinator. So these might have been different providers, but there was a coordinator coordinating everything that I had no knowledge of because my self-directed care had been usurped with a probate court filing, resulting in me being in an involuntary commitment and an involuntary civil commitment that I knew nothing about. So here's this team, and I don't know, what are they trying to do? In my opinion, you have a coordinator and a team, and you have 18 visits before somebody pulls it, before they pull that lab. It didn't happen by accident. It was just something that can be used because, hey, you're delusional regarding your health. This guy keeps coming in here and coming in here and coming in here. They were giving me the wrong medication, of course. And, well, that all changed October 4th, 2013. When that lab came back positive for 2 forms of Candida, Candida dubliniensis, Okay, it's one of them, and that was the one that was causing my tongue to fissure, and it was painful, and you know, with little cuts. It was really pretty brutal. Okay, and the tongue is mentioned 7 times in the record, 7 times. But in 2014, when the tongue got healed by the proper medication, diflucan, okay, diflucan, nobody mentioned that the tongue was even healed. Nobody ever mentioned the tongue again. So, I experienced delusions regarding my health. And I was still, when I had treatment in October 2013, after being infected about a year, I still wasn't doing well in 2014. Matter of fact, in January, I was given another round of diflucan. I wasn't looking too good January, February, March still. I was still in recovery. And not only that, when somebody has untreated candida, in other words, a form of it that wasn't treated properly, and you have an infection for a year, you don't think that impacts your intestines and your gut? Okay? When you have a problem with candida, it's from your mouth to your asshole and everything in between. And yet, this person had the nerve and the gall to say that client appears to experience delusions regarding his health. Did you send me to a gastroenterologist for follow-up care? Just curious. Did you? No, you didn't. You know what's amazing is I filed for Social Security, I think, in August of 2013. Now, do you think I would have filed for Social Security in August if I was treated appropriately all the way back in Connecticut and was given the proper treatment? 2 to 3 visits done? You're a great kid. You're ready to go. I certainly would have been. I had no confidence in my health, because when you keep having a problem, you're going back, you're going back, you're going back. And then you can see that they're not they're sweeping it kind of under the rug. I mean, so they're not following through. They're not sending you to other specialists. And I had indicated that in previous videos, I talked about the 18 visits. And when I was here in Missouri, one doc offered me a psychiatrist. I said, Doc, I've been sick for, October to August, about 10 months now, or maybe 9 or whatever, 9 months. And you know what? I'm still having problems. Oh, would you like a consult to see a psychiatrist? You're like, no. I mean, really? I don't think so. And you're thinking to yourself, this guy's nuts, right? And so what happens, a couple of weeks later, I'm sick. I end up at primary care, and the lab is done, and there we go. We have a diagnosis of the condition. That made that doc that offered me a psychiatrist look pretty bad, didn't it? And it's because he was following a plan. He was being directed. He was part of a team with a director, a coordinator. And so, I ended up going to, like I said, I ended up getting the lab October 4th, 2010, and there you go. And what did they do? They ended up sending me, covered their tracks. They sent me to a ENT, who then renamed what was found on the lab. He gave me a syndrome, burning mouth syndrome. So, Candida dubliniensis, I can't pronounce that, and Candida albicans became burning mouth syndrome. And then he sent me to a periodontist, a dentist, was his referral. Now I'm thinking, I don't have a problem with my gums. So now the lab with the positive results indicating why Mike was sick all that time. gets swept under the rug. Everybody ignores it. Nobody mentions it. And Mike's problem becomes burning mouth syndrome. I can talk about this stuff a long time. When these people insert things into your record in the manner that they did, let's talk about, oh, he also experiences agitation and aggression. Now, what was the context of that? This came from two entries, right? One in early 2014 and one in 2013. I'd have to find them. I didn't want to get into it, but I could find them. And it was a person by the name of Wiley, okay? Who was, I guess, my director of care. She was an RN, but she didn't disclose she was a psychiatric RN. And she was my director according to the fact that I had been determined to be, I guess, in need of care according to a court decree, a probate court decree. I had no clue what this lady was doing. And she sure didn't tell me. Nobody told me. I had to find out years later, in May 2022. So I don't know. How do you respond appropriately when people have not explained themselves, have not disclosed things, they're treating you in ways that you don't understand what they're doing or why, okay? And as far as the, I guess, the agitation and aggression, I mean, where did it take place? Was I in the lady's office? Was she frightened that I was standing next to her and I became, what was the context? It happened over the phone. One instance, I was really super aggravated because she kept pushing this mail order pharmacy stuff, okay? And I kept saying, I want to go to my local pharmacy. I don't want to deal with having prescriptions delivered to my home. No, I don't want that. However, they made me do it. And it was just such a problem. And it aggravated me to no end. And, you know, I'm sure I raised my voice. I'm sure of it. I was a little ticked off. I was feeling like I'm a customer. Well, here it says here a client. So a client, customer, whatever. I didn't know I was in case management per a court order. So that's how it went down, on a phone. And then there was another thing. Oh yes, the Affordable Care Act. They wanted me to come in and sign up in the marketplace, and I was just like, I don't want anything to do with the marketplace. I mean, I thought, hey, I'm okay with insurance, right? I mean, heck, I remember in Connecticut I had Husky, Medicaid. Here in Missouri, I assumed, well, it's going to be Medicaid. It's going to be Missouri Health Net. So I just was not into, dealing with these people because it had been just too much engagement and interaction for a normal situation. It really was. So it's utterly amazing how somebody can insert into your medical file a word, aggression.